save about 1,000 plus.
To work out cheaper for me.
4,000.
215, even more.
It's for 200 plus. 400 bucks of savings.
Alright, let's cover this back. Ouch, ouch. There you go. Occupation hazards. Okay, let you guys see the exterior. Oops. This is the Mercedes GLB. Alright? And I fell in love with the design when I first saw it in their global unveiling, because it has a very nice squarish looks to it. I especially love this part, the headlamps and the wraparound bumper that comes up and giving it like a clamshell hood. I like it. I like the design of this car. I'm getting more and more motorcycles here. Right, I like the design of this car because most small SUVs, right, they try to give it like that sleek look, or they try to un-SUV the SUV, but this one is just unapologetic. It goes all out. It pushed the roof line high up, increases the interior room, and it gave it a very squarish, rugged design, especially this rear part. Look at this straight cut SUV design at the back here. How often you see that now, right? So this GLB sits on the A-Class platform. Yes, the A-Class platform is that flexible now, and they cater this to first-time Mercedes owners as well, but not everybody likes a small little hatchback as their entry into a Mercedes. Because if you were driving, let's say, a HRV, right, and then now you increase your income, you want to go into Mercedes-Benz, right, and you don't like the idea of a sedan, right, or the C-Class may be too expensive, or the E-Class is too expensive, right, and then your only choice for an entry hatchback-ish car is an A-Class. You don't want to downgrade your usability of your car while you upgrade the brand, right? So that's not something you wanted. So the GLB is here to answer you, because the GLA is also small, the A-Class is small, and the GLB is big. Alright, as I showed just now, the boot is huge when the two rear seats are down. So these are the rear seats. Yes, this is a 7-seater, but I suspect it is a 5+2. But in recent years, the Japanese clever packaging knowledge seems to have transferred over to the Germans as well. So the Germans now are rather good in doing packaging design of the cars. Okay, let's move this a little bit so that we liberate some of the room to balance between second row and third row. Obviously some sacrifices needed. I am 5'11", and these rear seats are really tiny. Okay, from pictures or from videos they might look normal, but they are proportionately one size smaller than normal rear seats. I can show you over here. Look at my bum to where the back of my knees are. Okay, but nevertheless, I get to put my size 11 feet underneath the front seats. Still a little bit of room. Now this is not the best judgment to show how roomy it is. It should be this. It should be all the way back. Alright, I can barely slot my feet, sorry for my sandals, in between the rails and the base of the rear seats. There is a very low tunnel. There's a little, wow, 2 USB-C ports, little compartment here, 2 aircon vents. That's about it. And of course, when you need to use the rear seats, nice touch points, but these are setting chrome plastics, and this just feels alright. I mean, I know it's hard plastic underneath, and then they wrap a layer of maybe man-made leather front. Okay, so once we are here, we'll be able to pull the third row seats up. Obviously not that. Let's pull them up. Okay, this should okay, you need to pull You need to pull this first to release the locking mechanism, then only use this strap to raise it, and I suspect you pull this to lower it as well. These type of designs, I don't need to sit there, and I know you need to raise this. Look at how bent this is. This thing is bent, so it's to, while it raises, it's kind of curved upwards. See that? Right? So you definitely need to raise this in order to sit there. And the best part is, this compartment hides the emergency triangle and also the tonneau cover. Lovely. My XC90, which is a 7-seater as well, when I took out the tonneau cover, there's no place for me to hide it underneath. You know, the compartment. I mean, that's one of the worst things that Volvo did with the XC90, for not having a proper. Wow, the previous person who used this car really dirtied it. Anyway, I'm gonna attempt to go into the third row now. Now this is a ow. Okay. Oops. Am I able to pull this back to where it belongs? I'm not sure. Someone else has to do it. So at the back here, as you can tell, it's more suitable for small little children, but they'll be fine. They can put their phones, right? No cup holders, but there's a little USB port, and that two little air vents needs a lot of strength to reach here. Oh, are they that separated? Wow. Okay, not the easiest to go in and out. Okay, it's better to let the kids contort themselves than trying to do this being an adult. Okay, this is definitely a 5+2. I mean, it's already pretty amazing for them to create a 5+2 out of an A-class platform, right? Don't forget about that. It's an A-class platform, but they managed to create a 5+2 out of it. Okay, the seat backs cannot recline further. That's the max. And you even get a proper Mercedes grade armrest. Nice. Okay, and let's look inside. So when you don't need to use the rear seats, right, it is a rather spacious standard 5-seater family SUV with a very reasonable boot space. Okay, come inside here. The usual stuff. Beautiful Mercedes cabin, beautifully designed.
Can you say that again, please?
Cancel. Alright, so let me put on my seatbelts and go through the cabin with you. I guess now I'm in the car, I can take away my mask. Oh, sweating out here. Okay, it's a hot weather, and I don't know what leather you call this, what Artico or whatever. I mean, these are not 100% real leather. Okay, they don't breathe as well as real leather, but it's now very, very common in cars, even in premium cars, right? I mean, they're okay, right? They're stitching, and you touch them, they feel like leather, and of course leather has grades as well, so I'm not going to nitpick here. Okay, ergonomics, visibility is excellent, and even though there's a thick A-pillar, but the A-pillar is pointing towards me, that means it doesn't go thick this way. And even though the side mirror isn't mounted on the door itself, it's mounted at the base of the A-pillar, but there's a little bit of a slit over here. That means visibility is alright. Side mirrors are small side mirrors, 8 aerodynamics, fuel consumption, and all that. Trust me, you look at the new Passat, the side mirrors are so tiny that they're barely usable. But this is still within usable, still within usable realms, but it's already considered small. The moment you come out of this car, you would immediately feel that, hey, that's a small side mirror. Now, modern Mercedes interior design, who can argue that? Who dares to argue that, right? Mercedes knows what they're doing, right? Fantastic steering wheel, and by integrating the both screens, it looks like one giant screen, and then they make it into like a two-tier design. Here, even though it creates an illumination effect of this being reflected here through the gloss black plastic, nice use of a universally hated material, but it's hated only because when it's done in plastic, you get a lot of fingerprints, dust and all that, but it has its merits. It reflects really well, and when you use this, it creates like a nice effect. This looks metal, feels metal, but it's actually not metal. It's some chrome, setting chrome material. Nice touch. I mean, it's cold to the touch, so well done, right? Even the rims around the air vents, cold to the touch as well. Fantastic. So overall, the whole ambience of the cabin is really well executed. I have to give that to Mercedes-Benz. You come up to this car, then you go into the X1, and you'll be like, oh, the X1 feels 10 years behind, right? This one is just so much more enigmatic, just beautiful to the eye, soothing to the eye, pleasing to the eye. The new steering wheels, and then look at Mercedes. Mercedes never made these kind of mistakes. They give you the paddle shifters, right? Something Volvo did wrongly. Sometimes Volvo take out, sometimes Volvo put it back in. Come on, it's just two pieces of plastic. Just leave it there, right? Just leave it there, and it's a feature that costs you very little to manufacture, but it becomes like a premium feature for car owners when they come on board your car, right? One thing that Mercedes did really, really well, the two screens is controlled by these two touch-sensitive points, and as I scroll, see that? It highlights the region that I selected, and then you go up and down, it changes its modes. This is by far the most user-friendly way of operating LCD screens, and the best use of LCD screens. I mean, LCD screens can display anything, right? So the left one controls this, the right one controls this. This is so clever because when you move the steering wheel to left-hand drive, you can just reprogram them and they'll do their stuff, right? This is really, really smart. But of course, there are certain things that in a way I can make it not logic, right? In a way, but this is because Mercedes allows the freedom for you to choose what you want to show, right? So like now I can show fuel consumption on all three screens. 1, 2, 3, right? Which is, yes, it's funny, but come on. I mean, if they allow you to do anything and you do something stupid, then it's your fault, right? And that's a giant clock, right? A very nice giant clock. And Mercedes graphics are just fantastic. The transition of the graphics, how things move. You can't deny or can't disagree with why youngsters now, they love Mercedes-Benz more than Audi or BMW or whoever else, because Mercedes just seems like the most progressive brand here. The things that they do, they're fast, they're quick, and this interface shows it, okay? And since BMW moved into iDrive 7, I no longer felt that they are the most user-friendly one. In terms of user-friendliness, nobody beats Volvo, but when it comes to the interface, how attractive it is, the graphics and all that, Volvo is by a mile behind the competition. And I think this new system from Mercedes-Benz is just dead easy to understand where you are and to go in to do what. But in terms of the logical stuff, I think you still need a little bit of time to go through things, They are almost still at that stage of, what do you call that, anamorphic or what? They try to create graphics that looks like real items being shown there. The old iPhone interface was like that. And I think with such a big screen real estate, there's a lot more opportunity to design something that is way user-friendlier. All right, and down here we have the aircon control panel, which is, I mean, in modern car making, right? Modern car making, you need modules. Like this is one module. These are modules, and that's a module. This one is a module. This one is a module. All these are modular. This whole thing, all right, and this panel. What does that mean? Is that they manufacture these things and they move them all over different cars, all right? And every single different car model must have a different dashboard to give a sense of differences to consumers, but they must have places to mount these modules. These modules will stay, all right? Now, in the A class, this panel was designed to hang in mid-air in a way, and because this thing was engineered to only have 2 screw points, there's only 2 screw points in the middle. That means it doesn't have a diagonal screwing mechanism whereby 1, 2, 3, 4, so the whole thing is very secure, right? But they are on one single pane and 2 nails. That means in the A class, the whole thing wobbles. When you press the button, and especially pressing the button here, is not a push-in effect. If it is a push-in effect, this thing won't wobble like that. But this thing does this, right? You are toggling it up and down. And given that the thing is screwed that way on the A class, when you press up and down, the whole thing does that. So very cleverly, the GLB's molding for the dashboard includes a recess place for this whole panel to recess in. That means this panel is now locked and secured against this part. So when you use this thing, it no longer wobbles, and that's a very good improvement. And that means they watch my video, right? Because I don't see any other motoring journalists talking about this wobbling thing in the A class. This is really, really good as well. Of course, when you have such a wide tunnel and you leave this part as a compartment, you could have molded this part up that way. Then it creates a really good secondary storage space. Nevertheless, Mercedes did really well. Push this open. There's a nice compartment in there. I don't see wireless charging, but there's a USB-C port, cup holders, and this is just wow. Some mechanism there. Actually, it's not needed, to be honest, but I believe you can remove this. The old ones, new ones, I'm not sure. Okay, the old ones, you can remove the whole thing. All right, so it's all right. But of course, this is gloss black plastic. If this is rubberized, if this rises up further, then I can dump a ton of stuffs here. That will be super convenient. Now, in the A45, you have a small little toggle gear shifter. Of course, Mercedes gear shifter is here. That's why they liberate up this space to give you a lot of room, right? This panel still controls the inputs, okay? It's an updated design from the old one with the swivel wheel and the touchpad on top. They no longer need the swivel wheel because it's touch sensitive now. And then, of course, you have this super awesome...
Can you say that...
Cancel.
What can I do for you?
Cancel. You have this really awesome soft key over here. So nothing different, but it's just that Mercedes still keeps the dynamic over here, the volume button over here, and you'll be wondering why is the volume button over here and the volume button is over here as well? Because this is modular. They don't intend to make left-hand drive or right-hand drive differences, even though this look rather similar. They could have just printed another set, but they are like, nah, not too big of an issue. So on a left-hand drive car, you have your volume control on your steering wheel, then your dynamic mode is here. You change your car from sports, comfort, and all that. And then as a passenger over here, I can control the volume. Now, change to right-hand drive. If of course BMW would change it, but Mercedes is like, hey, why do I need that, right? So in the older one, in the older control with the swivel and that really nice sculpture-like material on top, in the older design, that whole thing blocks off the view of the dynamic toggle. All right, cancel. Can I cancel? It's just annoying. Anyway, in the old one, the whole thing blocks the view of this, but in the new one, it doesn't. So
can you say that again,
I'm
please?
fine. Cancel. So I'm totally fine with that. All right. Here, open this up. Okay, thanks for the ang paos, Mercedes. This is the most unique way of giving me ang pao. One whole stack in the car with the car itself. Beat that. Others, no, they didn't give me the car. I still need to return it. Okay, it's rather deep. That's why I put the ang pao here straight. There's a USB-C port as well. There are a lot of USB-C ports. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 all over the car. It's not wide because this is not a big car. It is an A-class platform car. That's why the center tunnel isn't wide. But towards here, they widen it. Pretty nice. All right. Glove box is huge. It's not covered in felt. That reveals the segment of this car. Okay, now the seats. I've only driven this car for like 30 minutes. I'm having a little bit of backache already because a lot of these entry-level European premium cars, I don't know, maybe they felt that they belong to premium cars, so when they do entry-level, they just don't, you know. And yeah, I'm having a little bit of a backache. I've been trying to adjust a nicer sitting position, but I just couldn't get one so far. Okay, the seats are a little bit offset to the left, okay, as opposed to the steering wheel. That means I'm stretching out I'm heading towards this side instead of sitting in the middle. There's a little bit of an offset. This is pretty prevalent in many left-hand drive convert to right-hand drive kind of cars. All right, here we have LED light. Wow, they look like crystals, man. Pretty nice. And of course, as someone who first time got into a Mercedes-Benz, will be like, wow, that's nice. Okay, in terms of room, there's a lot of headroom. A huge ton of headroom. Of course, I would love it if it has a panoramic roof, which it doesn't, but it's alright. Seat controls. They've changed the design. I do not know why Mercedes changed the design. Their old one looks so nice, and the old one actually feels more substantial to touch. Even the shifters from older Mercedes-Benzes, right? They feel more luxurious to touch, to be honest. This feels like a Ford or a Peugeot kind of level kind of car. So this comes back to my thoughts of, anyway, let's drive the car. All right. Okay, sorry for that. This comes from not being able to sit in the proper sitting position and a driving position. Okay, the seats are a little bit offset to the left and then pointed back towards the steering wheel, and I can't really adjust the angle of the seat in terms of the seat base. Okay, I can raise the seat a little bit. Overall, it's an entry-level car from Mercedes-Benz. Okay, and after driving it, it doesn't drive. To be honest, it doesn't drive as well as the X1. It's not like the X1 is stellar anyway. Okay, certainly not in the realms of a Countryman. It is two different levels of products. Okay, but you come in here, you don't read about all those specs or whatever. You just start the car and then you just go. The car goes. This engine is very, very responsive. All right, it doesn't have that significant lag. The gear changes are all right. The only thing that betrays a Mercedes-Benz of this size. So what do I mean by that? You know, generally when your car is bigger, it's more luxurious, right? Compared to like when you go into a small little hatchback, you would expect that car to behave like a small hatchback. But this car is, by footprint, it is the size of an E-Class, right? So when you go into a car that is somewhat the size of an E-Class, you would have this perception that the car is gonna behave like an E-Class. No, it doesn't. It is a car that you know, shakes from left to right, and when you go up and down speed bumps, there's a lot of movement on the car. When you're driving over undulations, there's a lot of, basically all these are sensations that you get when you go into a small hatchback. Okay, and that reveals the underlying chassis of this car, the platform of this car. Nevertheless, those are limitations, right? Because this car is derived from a small hatchback. I really have to applaud the engineers for being able to turn such a small car into such a big car and yet it looks proportioned by design, and inside is spacious, left, right, up, down, every direction. It is a spacious car, okay? Except the fact that it is not a 7-seater MPV. It is an SUV with 5 seats and plus 2 at the back. You can think of it as like a 5008, but then a 5008 is wider than this car, okay? And that one also has proper I think seating position seats. That is in fact a GLC sized car. Now if you were to ask me, so Bobby, should I go for this or a GLC? You know, there may be some pre-owned GLCs, you know. Then I will have to ask you, I mean, are you a family that has 2 small kids with 3 or 4 adults all the time? If you are not, that means most of the time your kids will be sitting in the middle row. You will be keeping the third rows tucked in all the time. Then you don't need this car. It's just that you felt it's almost more worthwhile because it's newer and it has 2 extra seats. But I can tell you, the whole sensation of driving this or sitting in one versus the GLC is night and day. Alright, the differences is almost as if the differences between the Camry and, given that Perodua is under Daihatsu and Daihatsu is under Toyota, it's almost like a Camry versus a Myvi. Yeah, the sensation that you get when you sit inside one. Alright, the GLC rides like a proper luxury premium car, okay? This one doesn't. This one just rides like I would say the ride quality of this car isn't too far away from the BRV. Yeah, there's a BRV, the Honda BRV, which for its price rides and drives really well. But nevertheless, it is still a small car. It is still a car that was elongated and lengthened from a small platform. Same goes with this car. Okay, so if you were to just use it daily as your replacement car, let's say you have a HRV, you want to replace it into a Mercedes-Benz, and you need the space, you need the usability and all that, you are a small frame woman, you don't mind all that, this is a fantastic proposition actually, and it looks good. It is a good looking car. And yeah, if you just want brand new, I mean, this thing is cheaper than the GLC, right? And yeah, but overall, everything else, I have to say this. For those of you who have had exposure to German cars earlier, let's say 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, you will know what I'm talking about. They don't do the things they do now, back then, right? Back then, you can buy an entry-level German car. They still feel like a German car. There's still that heft, that pursue for more luxurious, more comfortable materials to touch and all that. Now they don't really. They make cars like these to earn a quick buck so that they can press the prices down for you. I like the looks. Alright, I think driving in city, it is compact enough. You know, it's not too wide, it's not too big. Should be easy to park. Visibility is alright. Specifications, I would say so. Okay, seats are not comfortable, and materials are not luxurious, but well designed. Can it be compared to the XC40? Cannot even be compared near the XC40. The XC40 handles well, proper material, really good build quality, and spacious and practical. This one is spacious, it has the seat numbers, it has the design, but it rides like a 80,000-90,000 ringgit car. You know why you can buy this car? There's no competition. Right? XC40, X1 doesn't come in 7-seater configuration. Right? For those family that really needs a +2, there's no challenge currently. Okay, I would say nothing much disappoints me because I know Mercedes-Benz's antics, their recent antics. Okay, I know this is how they will execute a small car, you know, I already knew that, so it's not like I hold a hope that Mercedes is gonna pursue some new levels of the best or nothing, right? We know that's just a tagline. Okay, and it's a beautiful car, and you cannot deny a cabin that is beautiful, interface that is intuitive, fun to operate. It's not a selling point. It is a selling point. Not every car is just about handling and handling and handling and handling. What's handling when you just drive? You know, you just ease your way all the time. You don't drive like you're not a mountain road carver. Not everybody needs to be a mountain road carver. Not every car needs to be a mountain road carver, right? So on that note, I think this car is buyable. See, they even have doors extend all the way down, so that covers up the side seal, and you don't bring dirt into the cabin. Alright, beautiful car, beautiful car. People won't be able to tell this is one segment below the GLC from the exterior, and from pictures it looks more modern. It has a more modern interior than the GLC, right? From pictures it looks so freaking spacious, right? From pictures you'll be like, wow, right? Yep. Hello, thank you. Alright, that's the GLB 200.
Thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but they see where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business so humongous, you would think that happens in there. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that.